Hi, I'm David Amata. I'm the product director here at Tripwire Interactive. I mainly work on Killing Floor 2 as well as some of the ports we have for our man-eater titles.
So Tyler, talk about your big summer update that you're adding to Killing Floor 2.
So for summer, we have the Interstellar Insanity update. It's space themed. We have our new Moonbase map, 4 new weapons, 2 new weekly modes, and a bunch of quality of life improvements, tunes, and cosmetics. So we're really excited to bring a beloved favorite location from KF1 and give it new, fresh KF2 paint.
What made you guys decide on the space theme? Because usually in summer, the theme is fun in the sun or water. You guys kind of went all out on the space.
So we really wanted to bring a conclusion to the Lockhart trilogy of maps that we've been doing. So since Airship to Steam Fortress, we ended on a cliffhanger with a steam rocket going to the moon. So we wanted to deliver on that. And since Lockhart tend to be our summer content updates, we really wanted to kind of bring that to the forefront and bring a new, fresh paint to it. Now in KF1, it was more Christmas themed, but this time we're bringing clowns in space. So that's the insanity part of the Interstellar Insanity.
They made a movie about that. It was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I remember that movie. It terrified me as a child.
This map will definitely terrify you now.
And then, of course, like with all your new updates, you also have new weapons. Can you talk a little about the new weapons that people will be able to wield in this DLC?
Sure.
Or updates.
We have 4 in place, 2 new weapon bundles that will be included as part of our new Armory Season Pass, as well as on standalone, as well as 2 free HRG weapons. First up is the Famas Master Key, which is a dual-purpose hybrid weapon for commando and support. It brings a scoped burst fire assault rifle and combines it with an underbarrel shotgun. So that gives you that flexibility for both long range and short range engagement. Next up, we have the Thermite Bore, which is for Firebug, which is a play on the concept and mechanics we introduced with Steel Spoon. So it's a thermite launcher that pins Zeds and explodes into Molotov fire. So it gives you a lot of area of denial capabilities and a lot of burning capabilities. Next up, we have our HRG Blast Brawlers for support, which converts the Static Striker fist that we had for the Berserker and adds shotgun capabilities to it. So with your 1-2 punch, you can have a nice long-range engagement with that, as well as giving a little bit more blocking and parrying gameplay to support. And then finally, we have the HRG Bastion for SWAT, which combines the Stoner 63 from the Commando class and gives it a toggleable shield for better defensive capabilities. So if you're getting really pressed on by a flesh pound, it allows you to turn that on, mitigate some of the damage, and then get some high fire action for it.
In the past few updates, we've seen new weapons for the firebugs. I forget the name of the take on the grenade pistol, but and we've seen updates for the support in the form of the axe shotgun. Mm-hmm. What is the cycle like on weapon development per class? Like, do you decide what class you're going to bring a weapon to next, or do you sort of come up with the idea for the weapon first and then decide where you're going to go with it?
So it's a little bit of a combination. So we'll come up with a really cool idea that we're gravitating towards, and then we'll take a look at our perk roster and see where we last release some weapons, where the arsenal is sitting for each individual perk, and then try to tailor it to what we feel needs to be best served in a given update. That way we can kind of have it even out and each perk feels valued and supported as we go through each of these seasonal updates.
As you mentioned, the Moonbase is a map coming back from the first game. But in Killing Floor 2, and especially in some of the maps you've been releasing pretty recently, there's quite a bit of interactivity to them. Like there was a ton of secrets to be found in Elysium, and I wonder, like, are players going to be able to find like upgrades to Moonbase that bring a little bit more interactivity, or is it going to be very, very similar to how it was in Killing Floor 1?
So there's not a ton of like secrets to find on the map, but we do have a lot of laser traps within each of the doorways. And the map was really designed with low gravity in mind. So that was the gameplay we really wanted to tailor to it. So in terms of things to discover, we found there's a lot of verticality you can play with the map with a jump height. So you'll find a lot of navigational capabilities to interact with the map that that you wouldn't be otherwise in any of our standard games.
I think one of the funnest things about sort of the way that you guys have approached new content and Killing Floor 2 is that oftentimes we see sort of like in one update we might see like some original content, whereas in another we might see something from the community. And how do you balance out like the pace of like creating something from scratch versus like going to the community, seeing what kind of cool things they've come up with, and like basically officializing it in the game?
Yeah, it's a tough balance. With our official maps, they have a really long development cycle. We might be working on those for 2 full seasonal updates before they get released. So with that, we try to balance it with a little bit lighter work in terms of optimization and improvements with the community maps, and make sure that the community work is really featured and gets sponsored on a much wider scale. So a lot of it is really popular within our PC community, but the community maps are also a great opportunity for console players to experience them for the first time. So that gives us a chance to really spruce it up and make it available for a much wider audience.
And speaking of which, the recent streams for Killing Floor have explored a lot of like community mods. Is there anything in particular that the team sees in those mods? Anything that they want to explore in either like future limited time modes or something they want to bring into the full game?
Yeah, it's really exciting to see what the community does with some of the mods and modifying the standard survival gameplay. And that's really at the crux of what we try to achieve with the weekly modes, is those give us a lot more experimental gameplay that doesn't need to necessarily be canon or can be a little bit sillier. So some of the most exciting ideas we'll try to integrate and make our own kind of take on it, so that there's always this constant replayability to it. And that was a big initiative for this year in particular, since we haven't released new weekly modes since 2017 when they were originally released. And for this year, we hope to double that by the end of it.
You want to talk about do you want to talk about some things people talk about is the meat, is the adding the gore to Killing Floor 2. Can you go into a little detail about that?
So each enemy is developed in mind with different severability moments. So we have our massive evisceration and trauma system that allows you to slice and dice Zeds in any way. So that comes into play in how we developed our seasonal variants. So if you ever wanted to decapitate a clown in 16 different bits, put him on fire, explode him, we got to make sure we support that in game. And a lot of that plays into that is our splatter map system, so that persistent gore is constantly present. So each of our maps are built with that in mind, to make sure that they can properly be UV'd and set up in a way that they can be bloodied and persist over the course of the match.
And that's an interesting thing you bring up, because like there have been a lot of different themes to like the enemies in Killing Floor 2 over the years. Like we've seen like the Christmas themes where you have like nutcrackers and Krampuses and things like that, and then you have the Halloween stuff. And I always wondered, like, is that just like skin work, or is there like a lot of mechanics that go into creating those themes to those monsters?
It's definitely a lot of work, not only in the modeling, the rigging, all the skinning, the gore system that needs to be set up. And there's a little bit of unique gameplay for some of them, like the Summer Scrakes in particular have a new walk animation style to play with that monkey Zed aspect of it. And there's a little bit of gameplay twists, if you notice, with the Gore Fiends with swords sticking out that actually can deflect bullets. So we try to inject that a little bit with each of our variants.
And voice work too. I think the voice work that you put on a lot of the variants is maybe some of the funniest stuff in the game. Just like hearing the evil elf Zeds coming at you in the Christmas variants are just some of the most unsettling but also funny stuff I've seen. It's just
it's hysterical.
You mentioned the clowns in this particular variant. Is there going to be other variants that we can expect to see in Moonbase, or is it all going to be sort of themed around that?
So for the duration of the summer event, it's all going to be the summer sideshow events, and we're hoping to run that from the launch of the update to a month after, and then it'll revert back to the default settings.
Do you ever get requests from the community to maybe like have those skins or have those variants or themes, make them into like a toggleable setting where you can like switch it off as you please? And has the team given any thought to that?
It's definitely something we hear. We just have to figure out the systems that will best support that. and it might be something we want to inject later on. Now, some of our maps do lock to certain seasonal events. Maybe you see that like on Monster Ball in particular. But if that's something that the community really wants, it's something we definitely explore.
Awesome. It's always cool to hear just how much credence you give your community. Just like the community has been such a huge part of Killing Floor as far as I can remember, and to see just how much they play into the development of this game and the new content and the variants and all that stuff. It's incredible to see how much they play a part in the ongoing work for Killing Floor 2.
Yeah, it's really essential. Get that community feedback, and that's what's allowed us to have this game running for as long as it has. And going forward, we have a lot of life and new updates to come with it. And it plays even into this current update where we have a beta survey that we'll be putting out during the beta period that really allows us to tune the feedback and make sure that our final release for it definitely hits all the marks for what we're expecting.
When does the summer update come out? When can people experience it on PC and console?
So the beta period is running right now. You can access that on the KF2 beta artifact on EGS, as well as the preview opt-in beta on Steam. It's available now until the release of the update. It's coming very soon to PC and console in the coming weeks, but we don't have the final update date to share at this time.